Laura!
Vinga, sisplau, cap enrere, va. Sisplau. Va, el cotxe es posarà en moviment. No vull que ningú prengui mal, sisplau. No faran amb ell. Senyora, el cotxe no es posarà en moviment. No farem mal a ningú.
En aquests moments, Clara Ponsatí acaba d'entrar a l'interior d'aquest cotxe, que l'estava esperant aquí davant de la Catedral de Barcelona. Ho fa acompanyada per aquesta gent dels Mossos vestit de paisà, que l'ha requerit en diverses ocasions. I ara el cotxe arrenca, posa la sirena policial, aquí la sentim. Eren dos cotxes amb agents de paisà que s'havien preparat, mobilitzat per fer aquesta detenció de Clara Ponsatí.
Doncs en efecte, Albert, aquesta és la notícia. Clara Ponsatí, eurodiputada de Junts per Catalunya, detinguda a les 6:05 de la tarda a la plaça de la Catedral de Barcelona.
Detinguda ja.
Avisa'ls que parlarà el president. És que hi estic pensant i... Sí? Hola? Però ja estem connectats, ja... Molt bé. Un moment, sisplau. Com sabeu, la Clara Ponsatí acaba de ser detinguda. Malgrat que és eurodiputada, malgrat que té tots els drets polítics com qualsevol altre eurodiputat, l'estat espanyol una vegada més s'ha saltat les lleis europees i ha vulnerat l'estat de dret. Us demano, si us plau, un fort aplaudiment per la Clara Ponsatí, que s'ha arriscat avui per estar amb tots nosaltres. El que ha fet la Clara avui és un acte exemplar i que ens inspira. I, degut a la seva atenció, no podrem dur a terme l'acte tal com l'havíem previst. En tot cas, abans de que us presentem els ponents, perquè almenys els pugueu conèixer, entraran ara per pantalla el president Puigdemont i el conseller Comín del govern de l'1 d'octubre, com la Clara Ponsatí, per enviar un missatge al poble de Catalunya. Moltes gràcies. President i Toni.
Bona tarda a tothom. Ens sentiu? Sí. Ens sentiu bé? Primer, donar la benvinguda a tots els que heu comparegut, agrair als participants d'aquesta taula rodona que hàgiu volgut acceptar la nostra invitació per parlar d'un tema que ens sembla del tot imprescindible. Per tant, estem molt honrats, el president i jo, la Clara, de ser els vostres anfitrions avui per poder debatre del sistema penitenciari a Europa. Però a ningú se li amaga que estem en una situació una mica extraordinària, és un moment excepcional. La nostra companya, en el meu cas, amb la Clara, durant tots aquests anys ens hem batejat mútuament com a germans d'exili. És una expressió que hem fet servir de manera molt habitual tot aquest temps i, per tant, la nostra companya, col·lega del Parlament i germana d'exili, Clara Ponsatí, ha pogut tornar a Barcelona. Hagués volgut dir que ha pogut tornar lliure a Barcelona, però s'acaba...
Hola? Hola, digue'm. Estic parlant. No em sentiu? And 3 messages. We are going to start with a personal message with all these years and the problem of exile as a personal thing, and the moment that the moment that Clara has lived, being able to hug the mother. Going back to Barcelona, finding her friends and family as well. And this is an important emotion, and we want to do this, although we want to make this political denounce. And we are very moved to know that Clara is back home. We also wanted to thank Clara and she is not going to recognize the competencies of the judge, and it is very important for the political fight we are doing from exile, and also to denounce what the Spanish court is doing. Is the situation, and Clara still fighting, and she's going to be with us. And our message, and with this I give the floor to the President, is that it needs to be solidly and robustly denounced. It is an illegal act. The Mossos d'Esquadra act as a judicial police body, but they've been the executors of an illegal decision of Judge Llarena, who is ignoring the immunity of the Member of Parliament, Clara Ponsatí. We all have our immunity because the court of Luxembourg gave it back to us that oblige the Spanish judicial powers to leave the members of the European Parliament free so that they can attend the plenary sessions. And tomorrow there is a plenary session in Brussels. So if Judge Llarena does not allow Clara Ponsati to go to this plenary session, is going to be doing an illegality. What Mossos d'Esquadra had to do today is also an illegality, so there is an urgent message to denounce this detention, and we have to tell everybody and the public opinion in the European Union it is ignoring the European legality. And now I give the floor to the President Carlos Puigdemont. Good afternoon. I would like to see the image of the room, if it's possible, please. If you can share the image of the room where we are celebrating the event. Well, I fully agree with what a member of Parliament, Comín, has said. We will be able to give you more comments, but first of all, today's event, the participant to us is very important because it is in line with the fight that we started in exile for the fundamental rights, to fight for our fundamental rights and the fundamental rights of Europe. And in this sense and in this context, the situation in prisons requires a special attention that powers don't have. I know 2 prisons, Norkmaster in Germany, where I was 5 years ago, and the high security prison in Sasa in Sardinia. And enough days to know what the situation is, that prisons in a democratic society are spaces that are abandoned, like black holes, in which a part of the population is put. And the audio is very bad, but we will do our best. There is a generalized feeling that the people who are in prison deserve it, and it's fine, whatever happens to them. I am talking about food, coexistence, hygiene, and also the personal quality. So I am very happy that Observa has born in Catalonia with this global perspective and also trying to give another perspective of the societies and the prison systems. And when I closed the event of the closing of Model prison, I said that democracies are recognized by how they treat their prisoners, and we have access to different situations in the European Union, and there are some liberal democracies in the first world that do not comply the minimum standards of the treatment they offer to their prisoners. As I said in the beginning, there are a lot of people in prisons that shouldn't be there because of systemic mistakes, poverty, health, mental health issues, and in a mature society should have enough resources to avoid this. And it is difficult to change the mindset and get closer to this prison experience in order to know better what's going on in prisons, and this has made us to raise awareness and to change the mindset in order to improve. And Catalonia is in better situation than other Spanish prisons, but there's still room for improvement. And the work that is being done is pretty good. We would like to propose prison culture and the way the societies relate to prisons that could be inspiring, a benchmark, a role model. And the job of Observa has all our support in this. And I hope that we can come back in freedom without being detained, and also to keep on the fight. We have an exceptional situation and we have to go downstairs and talk to the press, so we have to leave. But I'm sure that the event is going to be perfect, and all the people in Observa are going to do a follow-up, because what we can do from the Commission and the different researchers, we are going to give you our support. Thank you very much.
Vale? Estem en directe aquí una altra vegada.
So we are back here. And you heard what Mr. Comín and President said. This event is very important, but if the Member of Parliament, Ponsatí, is now detained, maybe we shouldn't continue, and we should go to the Ciutat de la Justícia to accompany her and give her our support. First of all, I would like to introduce the people who are here with us today, and if they can say something, because we have people who have been working in this event for many weeks. To us, it is very important because it symbolizes our commitment with the civil rights. Just when Clara Ponsatí is being detained, before going to Ciutat de la Justícia, giving our support to Clara Ponsatí in exile, not anymore, of our 1st of October government, I would like to give the floor to Iñaki Rivera, Gabriela Serra, and Mauro Palma. Mauro Palma has a wide experience in the respect of civil rights. He has fought for the rights in Italy. He's been the president of the European Convention Against Torture for many years, and it is an honor to have you here. And it's a pity not being able to do this event in full normality, because we have to learn a lot of things, and we still have a long way to go in our country, in the prison systems and in the criminal system. And we think that a full country is the one taking care of the weak people, and the weak people are the people who are imprisoned. And the job they do in Observa to us is vital, crucial, so that we can have a country like a country we want to have, a fair country and a free country. And I would like them to be with me for a second.
I no cal estar trist.
So we don't have to be sad, because what Clara did today is an act of resistance, of a bravery, and wonderful. She's exercising her right to go back home. It is a way to face these horrible policies that we have. So a round of applause for Clara, because she deserves it. She truly deserves it. And right now with Iñaki, we were saying that the Observatory of the criminal system and human rights, back in 2017, we created a team of a permanent observer of the people who are in prison, this justice, which is the antithesis of real justice. So during many years, we did a number of studies and denounces with other organizations of the civil society, because we need to know something. Clara is very annoying to them. And if Catalonia has annoyed and continues annoying all these who want to end with our freedom, is that we have a civil society that is fully organized, and we've always a lot of colleagues have been jealous of us. You in Catalonia have so many things. This is what they annoy them, that we our perseverance and being bold and brave. So they will still be jealous because we will continue being the way we are. And why Observa was created? Well, Observa was created because after what represented in the Observatory of the criminal system, and they created a special service, the City, which is the service of people getting into prisons and informing, reporting, accompanying the families, and informing of what's going on, denouncing in the ombudsman, and doing these reports. So this shows the transparency of what's going on in this closed vault in a prison. That is why the presence of our prisoners, political prisoners, was so important, because we discovered that prisons exist and everybody inside a prison is a person, a human being, and the only right that they don't have is the right of free movement. They have a right to food, to leisure, to being hungry from time to time, having a bad day, because this happens to all of us. That is why City surveys and informs, and he pays attention to everything related to institutional violence. What is Observa? Observa is made of different people and organizations of the civil society, Committee Against Torture, Iridium, Justice and Peace, Arranda, Omnium Cultural, and different organizations and people who decided to get together as an association in order to guarantee a service of communication and of reporting stable, independent from the political parties, from the institutions, and from everything that can reduce the rights of and also the facts that we see in prisons. And President was one of the first partners that we had. So we encourage you to get to know and Observa. There's a team of 6 people going into one prison and to another. We want them to be a professional team to keep on surveying for the situation of our prisoners. So how the way the present is, the way the future could be, it would be interesting to have this service, this surveillance service is independent professional. Thank you.
Demano disculpas perché parlerei in italiano.
I'm very sorry, I'm going to speak. I don't really speak Catalan. I do understand Catalan and Spanish, but I don't really speak Catalan. So we spoke about Europe and European control and about the possibility of European control. There's an institution in Europe, the European Committee for the Prevention of Torture. The European Committee for the Prevention of Torture has the chance to go inside to any place at any moment and to watch and to speak to people. And on a day like this one, now I didn't know that this would happen, but on such a day, it is particularly important to have the possibility to go and see ourselves. We understand how important it is to go and see for ourselves. And we understand that we have to keep our eyes open. We have to have the eyes of independence, eyes which are able to see. Now, for many years, I was the president of the European Committee, whose task I've just described, and I visited Catalonia a few times. I visited both Spanish and Catalan prisons. And I know, well, how Puigdemont president was saying, I know the problems within prisons in Catalonia and within prisons in Spain. I know those problems that have to do with being isolated in prison. And that's why I say that without building a culture, and he mentioned that as well in his intervention earlier. So if we don't build a social culture, these committees cannot do much. But they're still important because they can give that social culture an institutional voice. My presence here today, and at this point, I'm actually happy to be here today on this day, because an important, well, I would say, actually a beautiful person, as we say in Italian, a beautiful person is coming back to this country. So I was saying I'm happy to be here on this day. And I think it is important to underline this today with you. Now, if we were able to speak longer, we'd have the translation, would have been easier. But I hope that my words will convey how institutions are closed, but how institutions are committed, and also social society, civil society are committed to keep an eye on these places and consider them as places which belong to the community. Thank you.
Espero. Vale. Bueno, torno a començar. Bona tarda. Deia que és evident que hem de...
Good afternoon. It is obvious that we need to change what I was going to say, because what has happened with the detention of Clara Ponsatí shows that there is no normality and exceptionalities going back, lack of freedom, detention that is being denounced clearly as an illegality that violates the parliamentary immunity, Europarliamentary immunity. And the first thing I need to say is that as a director of the Observatory of the Criminal System of the University of Barcelona, we are at the disposal of the defense, the team of lawyers for the freedom of Clara Ponsatí, to denounce this brutal repression from the Spanish state and the structures that keep this country in an exceptionality. And it is obvious that we are just improvising and we are shocked. But this shows the importance of the observation, the importance of keeping a civil society that is in alert, with open eyes, as Mauro said, and that shows the need to take into account this detention and lack of freedom. From the Observatory, we've been more than 22 years approximately visiting the prisons in Catalonia, and the observation of the judgment in the Supreme Court in the last years. We also surveyed the protests because of the rulings, with all the violence from the police bodies, and now with Observa, we are studying the conditions of imprisonment in Catalonia, and we need the help of the citizens to continue working. We want to build a structure of the civil society in Catalonia totally independent. And we say independent, we talk about independence from political parties, economic independence, and we work with no subsidies, just with the support of the citizens. And I will just give you some figures of the ones I wanted to share with you, but we don't want to do a regular event in Catalonia. There are very severe things going on. I will just mention two: the mechanical contentions that you can read in a very good survey that VilaWeb did to Mauro Palma, that is going to be published today or tomorrow. And these mechanical contentions means to tie the prisoners to the beds in the prisons in Catalonia and in Spain as well. So to us, this means inhuman, degrading treatment. And in the last year, only in Catalonia, they've been done in more than 1,500 times, with an average of several contentions per day, every day in Catalan prisons. So you will understand that putting an injection is a medical event, or a cast when your arm is broken is a medical event. A mechanical contention is also a medical act, because it is not something a policeman or a policewoman can do. So these mechanical contentions are done by people who are not doctors, and they are done every day in the Catalan prison. And we want to end these mechanical contentions. After the visit of the Committee of Mauro Palma of Prevention of Torture, Catalonia has the possibility, because it has the competencies in prisons, to end such practices. And another figure on behalf of dead people: the deaths in Catalan prisons have increased in 38% if we compare them to the last year. And only if we talk about committing suicide, from 10 people to 14 people, with an increase of 38%. So there is a death every 9-10 days, invisible deaths. They are not published in the mass media. And we just wanted to thank this office, because they've been very sensitive to this, giving us the possibility to talk about these forgotten issues. we wanted to thank President Puigdemont because he's always given us the support, his support in this initiative, being a member of this institution since the beginning. And let me finish the way I started. We cannot tolerate this broken normality. We are denouncing the situation in Clara Ponsatí with her return to Catalonia and the detention she's suffered. So we are at your disposal to help and also to make visible again in this event the importance of this observing. We want a civil society that is fully awake, not under anesthesia, and this is the meaning of this event. Thank you for being here. Before we finish, we have Cecilia de Armas. She is a councilor of the International Association Against Torture, and before we conclude the event, she is going to talk to us. Well, thank you very much for having invited me. First of all, we are terribly sorry to hear the situation in Barcelona, and we have the role to urge the national authorities to abide by the European standard of fundamental rights. So in this sense, as Iñaki said, it is not a normal situation, and this means why this event is not going to be as it was organized. I work in the International Organization Against Torture. Thank you very much for this event that underlines such an important topic that normally is not present in the political agendas, talking about prisons and the importance of the external monitoring as the civil society thus, and also the OMCT is an international society. We've been working with many organizations in Catalonia, especially with the Observatory of Human Rights and Criminal System present here today. We have also given a company to Iñaki Rivera in everything related to the criminalization. And just to underline the important role of the civil society in the monitoring at local level, and in the rapporteur of the United Nations about torture, the committee about torture and the subcommittee about torture have underlined the importance of the monitoring from the civil society in prisons and detention centers, and the organizations often suffer these obstacles. And from the OMCT, we are always trying to urge the government to guarantee the civic participation to strengthen the rule of law. It is important to take measures for the access and monitoring of the civil society of prisons and any other places where there are people detained without obstructing. The civil society has the right to have the guarantees, institutional guarantees, and the correct implementation of those. And in Catalonia and all over the world, we have been repeating it. It's about time the governments recognize the civil societies because they develop an important role in the prevention, documentation, and protection, and also accountability. And because we are talking about democracy and rule of law. So thank you very much. So with these words of Cecilia, we're going to conclude. We want to thank again Gabriela, Iñaki, Mauro, and Cecilia for participating. We have organized a different event, different from what we have organized, and we've talked about Observa in Catalonia, an organization with a national approach with Italy, a country that has put the rights of prisoners in the focus of their policies in the institutions and the international experience of Cecilia de Armas from the Global Organization Against Torture. So we have learned, we have listened to all the speakers, and we understand that there are some practices that can be improved. It is our responsibility to have the best country in human rights, and we want to keep on listening to the team in Observa, and we are going to accompany them. We are going to give them our support, and we expect and we hope to see Mauro again in the near future for the respect of civil rights, which are in the foundations of our collectivity. We want a Europe of civil rights, more united, advocating for the civil rights in the center of the European project. So thank you very much for being here. And also thank you to Clara Ponsati for her bravery, very inspiring in showing the way. So see you in Ciutat de la Justícia, in the City of Justice.